Okay.
And we are live. All right.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Magic Hour with Anna Stone
Hello.
and Stephanie Siren. Today, Anna, what are we talking about?
So, to get back into the thread of magic, right, and witchcraft, we are going to be talking about the 6 keys to ritual magic. So, 6 keys meaning steps, like steps, or like they're not tricks, but they're the things that you need to do to prepare yourself to engage in magic and ritual, right? I mean, how would you say?
So I think it's all about energetics and energy and coming from the idea that we are energy, right?
Right.
And so energy and can manipulate energy because we're creators, right? That's what we do. That's why we're in the human form, to learn how to create.
Right.
So we need certain steps to walk our physical mind and our spiritual mind and everything else, kind of walk it all through. And how do we get that? With ritual.
Right.
And so if you follow a set of these keys that are tried and true, right? Energetically speaking, they're tried and true, time and time again. So many, practitioners throughout history have used these procedures and been successful in their outcomes.
Right. These are very standard. They're very standard, but they're things that a lot of people probably don't think about. Like, we didn't think about putting hashtags on our thing today, did we?
We did not.
You want to do that? Like, you want to go to your page and do that really quick? Can you do that on yours, and then I'll do it on mine?
On my page, where is that? It would be
On
on
your
Facebook.
Facebook page, like
Okay, yeah,
yeah.
we'll just take a
I
break for a second, everybody. You can still
Yeah.
tune in while we're doing
Yes,
this.
this is we're silly. I can't
We
do anything about it actually right now. I can't. So I can't do anything. It doesn't let me click it.
Okay, you know what? It's a Thursday. We'll just have to deal with it as it is,
Yeah.
and then hopefully people see the replay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, so we have a PowerPoint. Woohoo, it's gonna be like an educational session.
Right.
Or about this. So we're gonna show you guys the actual, like, here's what you have to do. What you need to do, rather, to engage in ritual magic and get results, because a lot of people do magic and they don't get results, right? I mean, I think that's I mean, aside from the psychosomatic result of thinking that you did something, which is very common, and I think probably can account for many of the people that claim that they get results, right? I think, like, people, because if you think you did it, then you're going to look for signs and make it fit, right? But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about actual, tangible results that are specifically what you asked for, right?
Correct. And it has to do everything to do with your intent, what you intend the outcome to be, not the how. And that's something that we're going to talk about, is that how can't matter in magic. You have to commit yourself completely to the outcome as if it's already happening.
Yeah.
Or
That
happened.
is, yes. And this is the hardest thing for people to do, because when most people, let's be honest, most people turn to magic when they're desperate. Usually it's about love, right? I mean, that's the number one thing that people do, which is not the number one thing you should be doing with magic, because you're removing the free will aspect of the other person. And that I've done it. Okay. I'm not going to lie. I've done it.
Right. I think all of us as baby witches have tried that. It's probably usually your first spell, even.
Right. And
I mean,
usually just, and ironically, it's the one that works the most too, like, and like immediately, like very quickly, and has the most disastrous outcomes. So many
Yes.
people, when they do it and they get results, they shy away from doing magic again because they did not heed the warning of don't mess with other people's free will. And if somebody doesn't want to be with you, then they don't want to be with you. And if you force that, it's going to not be well. It's not going to be a good time. It's not going to be fun, right?
No.
But so that's just my little caveat there because I've done it. Don't make that same mistake. I would
Right.
never do it again, ever.
Oh God, no, for
No.
sure. Like, I'll do it for a client for sure. But
Yeah,
they
I mean,
they
that's
need
not my
to know why, what can happen,
yes, and they'll all say the same thing, right? Which it's fine. I don't care. No, I love them. I want them back. And then what's happened, Stephanie? What's the number one thing that happens if you do a love spell on somebody? What do you think the outcome is?
Well, eventually things are going to fade unless you want to love spell this person into oblivion so that they lose their damn mind, which is also a problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's going to fade over time, and then you're going to see your real differences.
Right.
And because you're not veiling their vision anymore, they're going to have their own free will again. And then you're going to break your own heart. You're going to hurt yourself.
Or like what happened in my case was that as soon as I got them back, I didn't want them anymore. And I couldn't get rid of them. Like all of a sudden they're just all about it. And I'm like, never mind. And then I literally could not free myself of this one person specifically until it took a lot. It took a very serious. Yeah. Like they
And
were no
also,
longer here. Yeah.
we can't deny our nature either. Like I was going to say that because you just made a good point. And like, we can't deny our nature. And so when you're putting somebody's like taking away their free will, you're taking away their true nature.
Right. Yeah.
And so like the one that you said you dealt with, okay. So he was all of a sudden interested and you wanted nothing to do with him.
Right.
And so like I can see how that would be an issue. So did he get like obsessed?
Right, but it happened in a very bad way. So my spell, so this is what we're going to show you guys, like the PowerPoint about what the keys of magic are. So I was 14. I was desperate. I was very, it's a different time too, guys, because like I'm older, 45, so this is a long time ago. But it was like we were in a really serious relationship. I mean, even at 14, it was really serious. Like I ended up having a child with him. So, but what happened is that he was obsessed, but not the way I wanted it, because I wasn't specific when I did my spell. I just said I want him in my life. And yeah. And so what did I get? I got 8 years of a custody case. I got, I mean, it was just the worst, like the most absolute, like, this is what I get, for messing with somebody's free will. And it didn't, I mean, in the beginning it was like romantic, but then it became obsession, like to make my life a living hell. And like, and he was very successful.
I have a question then. Did you understand anything about sacrifice or exchange at that time when you performed it, or did you give any sacrifice?
I sure did not. No, I mean, I was 14 and I started at 12, right? I'm only 2 years in and all by myself. I had nobody to guide me. So that's why I find it, important as we're older now, right? And we should, and like trying to get this information out there, that we share these things so that other witches don't make the same mistakes, because this was one that literally cost me time with my child, like $80,000 worth of legal fees, like a lot of stuff. Like it wasn't just the relationship. It was a nightmare. So
right. You had to make payments somewhere.
Yeah. And if you don't settle up ahead of time, like it's at the mercy of.
It's a wild ride.
Oh yeah. And not one you want to go on. Not like the one at Disneyland. It's not like Mr.
No.
Toad's Wild Ride. It is like to hell and back and then back again. It's a nightmare. So I'm going to pull up, like, hopefully I got a new hard drive on my computer today. Woo-hoo. Hopefully I'm not going to have any freezing issues when I try to share my screen like I did last time. So, let me.
And while you're pulling that up, I want to make a note of how it's called keys. And when we talk about Hecate, she also has keys. And the keys are what opens up magic for any sorcerer, sorceress, practitioner, alchemist, anybody. If you're not abiding by these keys, you're not going to get any outcome.
Right. I mean, and if you might, but it's going to end up being like what happened to me. Like it's going to be because
oh, sorry. Go ahead.
There's those other energies out there that will be happy to fool you into thinking that you got what you wanted, but it's not. It's like, a guise, right? Like that is another thing that can happen. Like
it's like a toxic mimic.
Right. Yeah. And these things are very real. Like it's very real. So, people can laugh all they want and say, "Oh, magic." Well, quantum physics, quantum mechanics is now, can explain how energy patterning, aka magic, works. So, it is a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it always has been. It's just, we're really difficult as humans, right? So we never want to admit what we can't prove scientifically, right? So, okay, so I'm going to do this. Let's fingers crossed here. Window, screen, sorry, screen. Here we go. Okay, so hopefully, let me know. Oh,
there we go.
It worked right away. No lag. Okay, cool. Okay, so here we go. So the first key of ritual magic is the key of altered state of consciousness, the alpha state. So the alpha state is the state of wakeful relaxation that is associated with a decrease of beta waves and an increase of alpha waves. And alpha brain waves are slower and they have a higher amplitude. And the brainwave frequency ranges from 9 to 14 hertz per cycle or per second in the alpha state, right? So it's low. So Stephanie, why don't you tell us what is that? This is the technical stuff. Tell us what it means.
Right. Okay. So for a practitioner, an alpha state would be a powerful state. It would be when you feel your most powerful. I personally like to use environment. And this is something that you should do for yourself to make your psyche understand, okay, we do all these things. That's why it's ritual, right? It's why we repeat. And so I like to use music, incense, all kinds of different things to get myself into that state. But mostly I sit down, I smoke a joint, I put on music, I meditate, and I get into my most powerful feeling self.
Right. Okay. So this is, so scientifically speaking, right? Like this is the ideal mental state known as relaxed alertness, right? And it's characterized by being fully aware and focused, yet effortlessly calm in your mind. Like you have an intention and that's what you're focused on. You're calm, you're clear. And this is achieved when the alpha waves are dominant over the beta waves. And so there's only two mental states while we're awake, guys, and that's alpha and beta. So most of the times we're in beta, right? So this is the one we want to be more relaxed and calm and centered. That's why people say get grounded or centered, right?
Right.
So yeah, so Stephanie, like you were just talking about this. So how do you achieve it? Here are some steps, right? So why don't you talk about some of these that are listed here?
This is why it's so important for a practitioner to have an altar space, because it signifies a special place in the world that is yours, that represents who you are in every dimension. And so it's very important to have a special space for this. And this is where you would come to ritual. And so it's getting your energetic imprint. And there's things you can use to signify to yourself and to your psyche, okay, we're about to start. maybe lighting some incense, maybe
Right.
lighting a candle, or both, putting on a certain playlist
Right.
that
Yeah.
you're, that maybe builds up in drumming or whatever it is for you that you like to put on, or even healing frequencies or solfeggio frequencies or anything like that. White noise
Yeah.
might help. What do you think, Anna?
So binaural beats is like one of those kinds that is proven to get you there faster, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's tons of them on YouTube that you can find. Just type in binaural beats or meditation music, right? The other thing you can do too, I think, is outside. So, okay, if you're gonna do ritual, first of all, if you have kids, you definitely want to make sure that they're asleep or they're not gonna bother you, right? It's while children are not like disruptive of magic, it's your focus that you should be concerned about, not like whether or not they're coming in and
Right.
out of a space, right?
Right.
Right, because kids don't have to have a door cut for them, to enter and out. Like they don't have to have that stuff. They're just in and out because they're your kids, right? But you want to make sure that your phone's off, like the basics. Like make sure you're not going to be disturbed because the idea is to gain a sense of like clear focus. And if you have people coming in and out, or your phone going off, or alarms, or messenger beeps on your computer, that's going to break your focus. That's it. Or there, you've already failed before you've begun, right? So
Right.
yeah, so you need to make sure that you're completely isolated. No one's going to bother you. You don't have anything pressing that you're thinking about, like you've already made dinner, you know what I mean? Like none of that stuff, none of the worries of the
Mm-hmm.
day. And you
Mm-hmm.
need to get comfortable. So however that is for you.
And I agree with the phone off, or at least ringer off. I do that also. I put it down. I don't even get on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have my music playing. And I also, because I am initiated in the tantric left hand path, I understand that for me, it works in the way of I have to get turned on and be turned on by the idea of the outcome of what I'm expecting. Like
Right.
I push that energy to the outcome.
Right. I mean, that can definitely help. I mean, I think you need to be very clear, and then we're going to get to that next. Like there's the clarity that needs to happen here, and that's super important. That's the next one. This is okay. Well, but before we get there, just here's some tips to like help you out if you're having a hard time getting to this state, right? Take some deep breaths and, have pauses between them. Like when we do that and we don't just breathe in and out, like when we actually have mindful pauses, it slows the heart rate. And then it also slows that brain frequency as well, right? And then also you can do that thing, like I do this when I can't fall asleep. I'll like sit there and go, okay, my legs are getting, heavy. Like, and I'll go through my whole body to like kind of relax myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But again, like this is something that it doesn't happen to many people right off the bat. It takes practice. It's not as easy as it sounds to really get into the state, right? Like it's not as easy as it sounds. It's something that takes time and practice. So, don't get too discouraged if you are not successful your first time. Okay. And then also, you need to be open to communication, right? Like you need to be open to communication, and this can scare a lot of people, right, Stephanie?
Geez, yes. And actually, this is great because we were just talking about this earlier today, because I was doing something that was completely unrelated to the download I received.
Mhm.
And I was just pitter pattering around the house, empty head, and boom, this like channeling came straight through. And I was like, okay, I know this is a channeling. And then boom, like it went through my body as like an affirmation. And I had like a stream of like energy go from my heart chakra all the way down to my root chakra. And so I got a hold of you and
Yep.
said, ask the cards.
Right.
And you were like, yes, absolutely. And so, guys, like you could be doing something where it's just, mundane everyday tasks, and spirit still that's like the perfect time for that to come in. So if you've ever experienced like quote unquote intrusive thoughts, but
Right.
they're not like violent or anything, they're just like, oh, this is this and this is going to happen. That could be self-revelation. That could be channeling.
Yep.
That could be spirit trying to talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah. And you need to, so when you think you're in the state where you're calm and alert focus, like calm, alert wakefulness, in the alpha state, you want to now say, this is what you're going to do. Like, here's your goal for this ritual, right? Like you state it aloud, or you can state it in your mind's ear, so to speak. But you need to wait a moment and listen for any kind of guidance, like any kind of, like signs of like approval. And sometimes this can be actual things that happen. Like I've had knocking happen, you know what I mean? Like weird stuff
Mm-hmm.
that have happened, or just just like I just am okay, go. Like I just know to go. But I think people oftentimes will ignore the ones that are like no, when they get the message of like you shouldn't do this. And that you could get that message for many reasons. You could get it because you're not focused enough. You could get it because what you're doing is not kosher, right? Like, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's no right and wrong in witchcraft, but there is right and wrong morally, right? Like, so there are some things that you just shouldn't do. But again, I'm not here to tell anyone how to do their own, magical practice, right?
Right. I would just advise, like, if you decide to hex somebody or send something somebody else's way, just remember that there's a payment system for everything. There's no such thing as a free lunch,
Right.
and you'll pay one way or another.
Yeah. And then, and like also, if it's for petty reasons, like, I just, those don't work. Like, there needs to be, like, you need to have a reason to hex somebody. Like, you can't just be, they looked at you funny. Like, that's ridiculous. I see that all the time on TikTok, and I'm just like,
Wow.
what? I do. I see it in there. I'm like,
Guys, I
oh,
hope you guys aren't out like or know anybody out there that's doing that, because good Lord, the amount of caca energy that would bring.
I know. And it just
Ugh.
makes us all look bad too, by the way. Like, it's terrible. But you have to be willing to pay for it, like, and we'll get to that though. So if you have that sense of approval, then it's time to go forward, and let's see next. So second key to ritual magic, and this is so important.
Oh gosh, yes.
Make sure you know exactly what you want out of your spell. Not like what I did, where I was like, I just want him in my life. That is vague AF.
Oh, that's
right?
very vague.
Like, you have to be concise and narrow it. I mean, it has to be like pigeonholed, right? Like, it has to be super specific. You have to.
Extra specific, I would say, so that you get all the tells when you're at the outcome point.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
it just depends on how much you want to blow your own mind, really. If you're going to follow these rules, like, you're going to have outcome. So the whole deal is just how shocked do you want to be when the outcome happens?
Right. I
How
mean,
big do you want to
how
play?
much confirmation do you want? Like, because if you do vague, right? I mean, there might be things that'll happen in your life, and you'll always be like questioning, like, was that what it was? Right.
Right.
But not with this. If you follow this method, you're gonna have there's no
Mhm.
way you won't know. You have to set your insight on the end result, not dwelling on how it's achieved.
Mhm.
So this is not like you're like, I want to, go buy scratchers and win the lottery, whatever. Okay. No, nobody cares about that. Like, it's just, and the lottery's not going to happen. But like, if it did, we'd all be rich. Right.
Mhm.
But like, if you want something, like, I want this job, you're not going to sit. That's it. You want this specific, and you name it. You name the position title. You name the place where it's located. Like, everything's super specific. It has to be, so that there's no chance that it can be something kind of like it, like it's it, right? The thing.
Right. Yeah, you have to have just clearly, like, this is already, I already birthed this baby.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And then you don't think about the things you don't want. Like, you never talk about the negatives when you're doing.
No, it just is. It has to be just is,
Just the thing
period.
that you want. That's it. Okay. So then the third one.
Ooh, before we go there, though, before we go to the
Yeah.
third, I want to give some people some tips about this. Okay. For your clear intent, it's a great thing even to have a Pinterest board
Right.
a playlist, poetry you've written for it, or pictures you've written with like made for it, like sketched out or painted, anything for this outcome that you are marrying yourself to.
Right.
Okay. So it has to be that deep.
Yeah, like it's I mean, because I don't know about you, Stephanie, but I mean, I hear people that they're like, "Oh, I do rituals all the time, magic all the time." I don't. I don't do it all the time. I do rituals for things like veneration, etc. But when I'm
Yeah.
asking for something, when I'm asking, it's
Oh no,
very,
I don't do it all
very,
the time.
very
No.
rare. It's only
Yeah.
when it's very needed, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not because, again, I feel like, and there is no hard and fast rule to this, I don't think, but just personally, I feel like I don't want to take advantage of something as wonderful as the ability to do this stuff, right? Like I want
Right.
to make sure that
Right.
I'm honoring what I'm, the stuff that I'm doing, not just taking it for granted. And every single thing is about, a spell, right? I don't know
Mm-hmm.
about you. What do you think about that?
No, I agree with that. Like most of my practice is actually just the practice of surrendering and
Right.
allowing the lessons to just kind of work me, because that's how I gain knowledge.
Right.
Um, but I mean, I mean, for me, it's more of a payment kind of thing from the universe. Like, I went through all these things, and what did I gain? I
Yeah.
didn't just get a T-shirt. I got magic. You know.
Right. 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 And so now we talked about how you need to get into alpha state in order to, like state your intent. But
Hmm.
after that's completed, now it's time to get a little bit up, a little more up, right? So you want to come in determined, like a determined mindset. You need to um, really feel this thing that you want. Like, it needs to be kind of burning in your, burning inside of you. Like you need this, you want this, it has to happen. And you need to allow your emotions to like get
Worked up.
worked up, because the next key of ritual magic is raising and releasing energy, right? So
And
you have to raise energy. Like, I mean, if you were the universe and you saw someone just going, I like this, thanks, I mean, compared to someone that's over there doing stuff, like I would
yeah.
probably be more willing to help the person that's like actually actively trying to raise their vibration, raise their energy up, right?
Well, the energy is what's recognized by the universe, right? And so
Right,
it's going to give it back to you. So, like somebody who practices tantric practices, like myself, like, or sex magic, we're going to get ourselves excited. We're going to get very excited while imagining this outcome and actually literally making love to it the best way we can.
right,
And that helps us raise our energy and everything, because you vibrate bigger, you have more energy. It's also, sexual energy is very healing energy,
right.
and it's very powerful energy.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. I mean, so you can do this any way you want. You can do like what Stephanie's saying. But if that's not your jam, you can just, chant, sing, beat on a drum, or some other instrument. Like if you play guitar, whatever it is, like you can just use that to like bring whatever resonates with you is the way to go.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
there's no set point. Like no one's going to say, ding, ding, you've reached that point. It's up to you. And you have to trust your own intuition to know that you're at the point now where you can proceed. Right. Like, and the
Mhm.
same with afterwards, you'll know when to release that energy as well, because you do need to release it. Otherwise, you got to release it after, right? So,
Yes, you absolutely have to have a release, and you have to believe when you release that the thing is done.
right, right. So that's what the fifth key is all about. And this is the one that everybody gets wrong, right? Like this is the one where everything goes bad for most people when they do magic. So this is not about, okay, you don't do a spell and then you go, oh, I hope that works, or I wonder when that will work. If you say
No.
that, if you think that, you've already failed. Like, right? Like that's already, it's done, because that means like right then when you ask those questions, all that focused energy that you just spent all that time, gathering and focusing onto this goal has now just returned to you because you called it back by talking about it. You cannot talk about it. You have to literally act as if you never did it. It's already a thing. It exists in your life. Like this outcome is already your reality, and you act as if. It's fake it till you make it. Like the epitome of that, right, Stephanie? Like, how would you describe it?
You need to make yourself believe it like a crazy person. That's my best advice, honestly. I mean, I get to the point where I've already created it in my mind on my computer. I've written poems about it. I've made art for it. And because what it is we're birthing something.
Right.
That's what it is. You have to believe it.
Right. But yeah.
If you don't believe it, or if there's even any question or doubt in your mind that it's just not going to happen, then it won't.
Nope. Like, so if you want a job, right? Like, here's an example. So I, 3.5 years ago, set a goal for myself to work at a certain place, right? That I really wanted to work at this college I want to work at. And every day, it's right by my house. So every day I drove by there, I looked at it and said, I work there. One of these days I will be working there. I will be working there. I will work at this school. I will work there. Like every time I drove by, it was always some kind of, variation of like, it is already it's happening and I just haven't started yet, or it's going to happen, just a matter of time, not if, just when. Right. And yeah, I got it. So it happened. And that's with anything. I mean, something as stupid. And I did this also with I wanted a Mercedes when I was younger, really bad. And so I would sit in my Kia and I would just look at the steering wheel and like the emblem on the steering wheel, and I would imagine it's a Mercedes all the time. And then within 3 months, I had a Mercedes. Like someone bought it for me, literally. Like it was a gift, and like that was crazy. That was the first time I think that I was like, oh wow, that actually worked. And then it doesn't stop there. Like, so you can do these, but you have to be crazy a little bit and be like, yeah, this is real. You don't have to tell other people, right? No.
Right. You don't have to tell other people, but it's even funnier when you do. Because I can distinctly remember being in second grade and telling everybody, I'm going to be a mommy one day and I'm going to have 2 kids. They're going to be twins, a boy and a girl. And I truly believed that.
Yeah.
And boom, at 21, Whitney, you need to just stop. At 21 years old, I had twins, a boy and a girl.
Yeah, that's crazy. But like, I mean, the same things. Like I as a kid, I'd say I'm going to live in LA. I don't know why I would say I live in LA because LA is the best place. But yeah, those things come true if you believe it. It comes true, right? So you have to maintain the idea, the notion that it's already done. It's done. It's not if, it's when. That's it. If you catch yourself questioning a bit, just reframe it in your mind quickly. But that it's no. No. It's not if. It's when.
It's when all the time. It's when. And when if you ever question, well, why? Ask yourself this: why not?
Right.
Why not?
Right.
I mean, it takes all kinds of things to happen in the universe. And I wanted to speak on this next key because I had forgotten about saying those things that I would have twins.
Yeah.
And then it happened. And every time that I have forgotten and just let it go and trusted the universe, it came in.
Yep. 100%. Like it works both ways. Like it works if you do it the first way or this way. So, and this is my favorite way though, for sure, is to forget about it. Like, although most people are unable, it's because the number one again is love spells, right? So if you're heartbroken over somebody, it's really hard to forget that, so that's why most of the time they're not successful, like, because you're not capable of it. But you have to really be able to surrender, like you said, Stephanie, surrender to it and like know that the universe has your back, right? Even though you shouldn't do this kind of spell, period. No love spells, bad stuff.
We don't want to do those. If anything, maybe you can always do a summoning spell of who's supposed to be with you and not get specific about the name. Maybe do specific character sticks, you know.
Right. Oh, I mean, love spells are fine if they're not forcing someone to do something they don't want to do, right? You know, like if
Correct.
you want to do a self-love spell, fine. You know, if you want to bring love in, fine. But if it's a specific person, no, like that's a bad thing. But like, I mean, do
Right.
what you want. But just we warned you. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
we warned you. Yeah, I definitely have done those, and they backfired.
Every time.
And
Doesn't matter if you bind it. Doesn't matter if you. It still happens. It's just
yeah,
like it still happens.
it doesn't matter how much you protect yourself.
Nope, that doesn't matter at all. So yeah, like ideally you can just once you are done with your spell, you should get rid of everything that reminds you of that spell and put it away. Like put it away out of sight, out of mind.
I
Unless it's one
personally
that
bury
requires.
mine.
What was that?
I personally bury mine.
Right. Yeah. If you have a place to bury it, great. Like if not, you can flush it down the toilet. If it will be flushed, or you can throw it away. But you want it out of your sight. If you bury it, depending on what the spell is, that can also help for it to like grow. Like if it's something where you want to bring something into you, that's good. But if you ever want to get rid of something, you want to get rid of it. Like get it away from you. Like if you bury it away from your house, right? Like away from you, if it's some banishing or something, right? Like you want to not have it on your property. But you know, the confirmation, like you got to get over the idea that you're gonna like that it's gonna happen right away, because it there's no time limits on this stuff. Like you can't say I want it within a week. I mean, that doesn't work that way. So, you know, you got to give up the idea of being like win, you know, and you just have to trust that it's going when it's right, it'll happen.
Yeah, when all of the environmental factors are right, the timing's right, the cast is right of characters, all of these things will come into play and just sit right where they need to be.
Right.
And if you trust that and truly believe in it, then it'll play out the way it's supposed to. And we're not talking like, oh, you have to wait 5-10 years. No. If you follow these rules and you follow a tried and true, like something from a tried and true spell book or somebody's grimoire, okay, that's maybe passed down in your family or from a published one, but you know it's from a tradition. There's a reason we use traditions. They have power because enough people have believed in them to give them that energy.
Right. I do say that I mean, when I started off, I mean, I write all my own spells right now.
Same here, yeah.
But it's always a good idea, I think, to find one that you resonate with, like online or in a book, right? And then tweak it to make it your own, right? Like, you know, you can change some things so that it's personally yours. That's usually helpful. Like sometimes though, you should stick to and you'll know, like if there's like steps and stuff, like you want to follow that. But the ones that are just like words, you know, you can add your own things in there. That's fine. But it's always best to do your own if you know how to do it. And we'll do an episode on that, right? We'll do an episode on spellcasting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right. And you like, because we're both eclectic practitioners, we take from all different things, but mostly from whatever practices or lineages that resonate with us. And then we make it our own. Because if you can take something that you already understand and respect and show veneration for, and then can tweak it for your own flavor and you know how to do it, then it's going to be powerful.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Much more than just one you just download it off the internet and just set it, you know.
Right.
Those work too, though. It's just, it gives you a lot more, right? Like if it's your words, and your intent, right? So
I forgot to put up Whitney's squeaky toy this time, so everybody's getting serenaded. Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
So this is just a recap of the 6 keys of ritual magic. It's that first one is you want to enter the alpha state of consciousness. Second is that clear intent. Third is that approach with unwavering conviction about what you want to to have happen. And then fourth is raising and then releasing energy. Releasing you do afterwards, after you've done your spell work, then you ground. How do you ground, Stephanie? Like, how would you advise grounding?
So any spell work I ever do, I do it barefoot and I do it outside. And so I ground by being barefoot on the dirt.
Okay. But
And
what about those of us that don't have that ability to do that? What do we do on the inside, like in our houses?
you can imagine some roots growing from the bottoms of your feet.
Right.
And what I would do is like consider like a root system coming from your root chakra down your legs, down through your feet into the floorboards.
Right.
And imagine them growing further and further and further down and creating more root systems. And that's going to really help you ground the visualization. And if you can't visualize it, then focus on the feeling of your feet to the ground.
Right.
Be mindful of it. And then imagine what it would feel like to grow roots. Since you can't visualize it, you can actually feel it.
Right.
So there's options there.
That's good. That's good. So yeah, and then you know, the fifth one is to expect the results are already achieved and it's just on its way to you. And then 6, if you can, just forget about it and go about your day.
Oh yeah, please
and then
forget
that way
about it.
you will be like pleasantly surprised when you get your result. And it usually it doesn't take forever. It doesn't, right? It doesn't.
No, not at all. Like the first time I actually did one on my own as a solo practitioner, it only took 2 weeks for the results.
Oh, hey, Tom, we have a question. I'm sorry, I didn't see that until now because my screen was taken over by PowerPoint. But Tom, binaural beats, did you have it? If you're still here, Tom, what's your question?
I think he posted that when you were talking about.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you for banning them. Yeah. So if anyone has questions, please feel free to like ask. We forgot to say that earlier because I couldn't see the comment section anyway because I was doing that. But and then also if you have questions for tarot readings or psychic reading, now is the time to put it in the chat so that we can give you guys your free readings this evening if you have questions.
And also like and share our video tonight. We forgot to put I forgot to put in hashtags.
I'll send you the file so that way you have it. Like it's just like a copy paste. So,
yeah.
It's okay. It doesn't. It's like when I go to edit it for replay, I'll do it. But
well, it's pretty good for going through a crazy initiation at this point. Like my brain's not all there, but it's
okay.
It's there.
Totally, I mean, this is and that's the other thing too. We'll talk about that in another episode, right? Like initiation.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night is going to be about initiations, and that's not the kind of initiation you guys are thinking about. Probably it's not the come into our circle and we're gonna put a sword on your head or whatever and like initiate. No, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about rough initiation. We're talking about the shit life throws at you that breaks you almost to the point of no return, and then thus, though, somehow, some way allows you to access these things that we're talking about here.
Yes.
Because that is the one thing that 97.5% of people that are psychic, that have been proven scientifically so, right? Like in studies from peer-reviewed research, they all have trauma background of moderate to severe.
Mm-hmm.
And why? Because that's why. Excuse me.
Bless you.
So I sneezed today. So like it's a thing with trauma is one of
trauma
is all over the place.
Right, and it's because Dr. Heal Thyself First, and so especially in extreme cases where you have people that are like shamanic healers or different types of healers, how do you make a healer?
Well,
you have to do it. Yeah, you have to make
any research, cultural anthropology, all of them. Like Eliade is like the biggest one that did the research, and it's known that all indigenous tribes, when they initiate their shaman, they are traumatizing the hell out of them, like burying them underground, like whatever, like kicking them out at age 12, making them live in the forest by themselves until age 18. If they come back alive, they can be the shaman. If not, you know what I mean? Like it's like traumatic stuff.
Yeah, surviving 40 days and 40 nights out in the jungle. I mean, that just happened in the Amazon, you know, to these kids who survived a plane crash.
They are hell of an issue. Yeah. So it's about, so we're going to talk about that and tomorrow night. And that one is, I think that can help a lot. I think that topic helps a lot of people with how they've dealt with their things in life, right? Like it helps reframe it so that it's not so pointless, right? You know, because sometimes it can seem like, why me, right? Well, you know, it's not a fair trade by any means, but
it's not, it's just kind of like, okay, you get this now because you know how to do it. And it's like, you know, for me, it's you get to heal people with your energy because you know their pain, okay? And like can recognize it in others. And what can you sacrifice to offer to help with payment for a spell? Tom asks.
That's a good question.
Okay, that's a good one. Anna, you want to take this one because I have a big answer. And
well, it depends on. Well, I think it depends on what spell you're doing, right? Like what kind of spell you're doing. I think, and then, but you know, I don't know. I think Stephanie probably has the answer I was gonna give too. Like it has. Like there's a lot of energy that can be raised in certain activities we do in our life, right? Like so, you know, Stephanie, I'm gonna let you go on this one
okay, so it's relatable. It's relatable to the request. Okay, so depends on how big of a petition you're creating. Okay, like for instance, when I got my divorce, okay, this was 2 years ago. I was at a point where I was ready because I had lost almost everything in my life. So I offered everything in my life to Hecate, and I'm talking everything.
Yeah.
Trusting that she would know what was best for me.
That's bold.
Huh?
That's bold.
It was very bold. It was very bold. I knew what I was doing. I knew what I had at stake, and I did it anyway.
Right.
And I lost. Now I'm at the point where I lost a lot of things, but I gained a lot of magic. Right. And the things that I lost, I don't miss.
Right. But Tom asks, does the energy you put into the spell pay for part of the spell?
No. It only opens for you because you have the keys.
It's what gets their attention. It's what gets the attention. So you get you know, you get them some time, like they listen to your petition, right? Like the universe.
Yes. If you follow the rules and do the thing right, and you also believe, and you also are already practicing, because I think as we go, we get more powerful. I mean, we have friends who, when they're in the same room with us, feel like they're getting blasted by a nuclear bomb. Like we are just, our energy is just off the charts because we've been doing it for so long.
Right. So I think like one of the things that you can offer that, like here, like an example, right? Like it would be, you know, you can offer to, you know, donate your time, like to people in need. Like you know, you can be like, I will go and I will give my services at like a homeless shelter or whatever, like some kind of charitable act that you're giving back and selflessly.
Yeah, it has to be selfless. It has to be absolute sacrifice. I even do my blood sometimes.
Like that is usually for the darker ones, like I think a little bit, but like for me, I might use that, but
it's when I mean business.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's when I'm like serious. Like I'm always serious when I'm doing ritual magic, but when I'm really fucking serious, like when somebody has done some shit, like, you know, and I'm like, okay, I'm playing, like, then that's blood. But
that's how I call in ancestors too.
Right. Yeah. Right. Because of bloodline. Right. But yeah, you can just, you know, something that'll put you out. Like you offer something up that you don't want to be without. Like that you have to pay. Like
vices are great for that too. I mean, whatever you want to give, it has to be something that you don't want to be without, though.
Right. So like if you drink a lot, it would be like refraining from alcohol for a period of weeks, days, like not just one day, like it has to be an inconvenience to you. Like it can't be something that you would easily just do. So, and I mean, so we can't really tell you what to do because we're not you, right? So you have to figure that out. Like, what is it about what for you would be something you would be willing to give up in exchange for this, but you're not happy about it, like basically.
Right, but you got to want the outcome more.
Right. That exactly.
Like how bad do you want it is always the question.
Right. Yeah.
And you have to ask yourself, like there have been moments where I've asked myself the question and I hated my own answer, which was I want the magic more than anything.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And when I get to that point, then I know that I'm committed to it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like that's, and another one is like a good one would be sex, right? And that's another one. That's a good one because that's so much energy is raised during that. So if you want to offer up, like, that.
Oh yeah, you can use a partner's energy with yours in a tantric way to build up the energy as payment for sure. But they've gotta knowingly be participating.
Consent. Right. Consent. Yeah. But, if you just want to do it by yourself, you could say like all of that energy that you get at the end of your situation can be donated to, that as well. So that makes it. That one, that's a good one. That's a lot of energy there. So, but yeah, like it's about something that you don't want to be without, something you're willing to sacrifice. It's a sacrifice, like not like sacrificing a life, like no, like not that, but it's a sacrifice, something that puts you out, but something that, is inconvenient for you to have to be without.
It's an energetic exchange. Yep. Hi, Jamie.
Hi.
We're taking questions now. If you have any questions or need a quick reading, like a question answered.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I will, and like if you guys want the steps to ritual magic, the keys to ritual magic, I'm gonna post them in the comments below when this goes to replay, right? So you guys can see them, and it'll just be listed 1 through 6 and with a brief description of each one again. So if you want to write them down, and I think that's a good thing to write down in your grimoire or your book of shadows or whatever, like somewhere to have it so that you can remember what you need to do.
Absolutely. I have different philosophies of probability in my book of shadows to remind myself about the probability of this happening, which is very likely.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome.
Well, you're welcome, Green. Okay, and Jamie wants to know. Okay. That's Whitney. She's just acting up, man. Okay, when will I hear from Kuma? Okay, Anna, go ahead, because I'm thinking you won't.
Say for her.
Jamie, I don't think you're gonna.
What's up with who's Kuma? What are they to you? No, I can't. Why do I always fall on the ground? Always. Okay. Let's see. What happened here? Let's see. What's going on? So it's stuck right now. They're stuck. So it looks like it was good, and then it wasn't. Like it's now stuck. I don't know what's happening here. Let's see.
I feel avoidant behaviors, and I feel like a distance. An X. Okay, that makes sense. Why I feel a distance.
Right. There's some unstable energy around this situation too. Like let's see. And then no, death card. So that was the end of that. So
you need to move on from that completely.
Yeah, like release your energy from that because I think that's holding you back a bit. Like it looks like it's causing you maybe some I don't know, like it's causing you to be stuck a little bit. So, let it go so that you can let the new thing come in, something new come in that's more suited for you at this time in your life. That's ended and it's ended for a reason. So, sorry. Hope that helps.
I
Yeah.
see you guys grew apart. You're just
Yeah.
different people now than you were when you were first together.
Yeah. And that happens.
Yep.
You know, it does. Never fun, but it happens, and that's actually a sign of growth, right? Like, you know, so if you grow apart from each other, that doesn't mean anyone's good or bad. It just means
We're not meant to be with people forever. We're supposed to grow and change and have different partners at different times in our lives. It's just the way that it works.
yeah. How are some people been together for like 30 years? I don't get it.
You know, in the older generations, it made more sense because, I mean, look at all the things that they went through and how they were structured socially to be built. Like they had families built for the military industrial complex. Like it
Right.
wasn't even, you know, a thing to have your own idea of what you wanted to be or do. There were very rigid structures.
Right.
So I guess it could be easy to stay stagnant.
Right. So Green Teakley, let's see, what started a YouTube
You're welcome, Jamie.
Sure.
Be good for my future. I see yes, but more as it's going to be fulfilling in the way that you're enjoying what you're doing. It's not going to bring a lot of money, but it's going to be fun and it's going to be fulfilling.
Right. Let's see. Yeah, I think like that's something that like it might help take this something like I don't know, previous disappointment, something that didn't go so great, you know, it would be like a makeup for that. Like I think it would be fun for you. Like it's let's see. Like what am I trying to say? Like in the past, if you've had like a non-start, you know, like something that you wanted to do, it didn't quite get there, like this would be a good way for you to kind of get back on the horse, so to speak, and like do something that is tailored to what you're interested in and that can also reach other people and get them interested too. Like what would you want to be doing it on? Like do you have a specific topic that you want to cover? It's going to take a time though, by the way. I just got like this chariot reverse, so it's going to be slow, and it is slow. Like look, we're doing it like right now, and it's like it takes time.
Yep, it does. It takes time to build it up.
Yep. And it takes time, and it takes patience, and it takes like determination that you're going to keep doing it. And you know, even if no one's watching, you got to still keep it up.
Yeah,
and not the money will be like, you're not gonna, I don't see you spending like a lot of money for it, right? But so it's gonna be like a neutral cost situation for you, right? Like you're not gonna lose money, but that's good.
No.
Yeah.
But I definitely see it being fulfilling.
Yeah, like I see it being something that's like good for your soul kind of thing, you know, like
yeah.
And if you have to learn new things for it, that's great too. You know, like anytime you have to do that, unless you already know how to do all this stuff. Oh, my cards are acting right. Yeah. So, out of the things that in the past that you've wanted to do, this is like the most tangible one, like that you could actually, yeah, like this one is the one that looks like it would be good for you to do. If that makes sense. See.
Okay. They said
okay. So that's why it's gonna take. So there's time here. Like you're gonna have to like narrow that down, like you know, because that's a thing, right? You know, you gotta have like a focus, or it will be a lot, right? Like it will be a lot. Yeah, but like it's not gonna. You're just gonna have to take some brainstorming, right? You know?
Yeah.
And then, kind of figure out what you want to do, what message you're trying to get out. You know. But yeah, it looks like something that would be good for you to keep you kind of busy and doing stuff. So that's good. Yeah. Let's see.
What, Tom? We didn't get that. I think you pressed send too soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you need income. So then, yeah, if you want income, you're gonna have to like focus that.
Okay.
Yeah, focus it on what you want to do, and then go for it. Right.
Yep.
Go for it.
And then we're going to be closing up tonight, but tomorrow night at 7 p.m. we'll be coming on and doing our usual, and
7 p.m.
talking about initiations.
Yeah. So that's LA time, Los Angeles, California time.
Yeah, Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah, and then and that's tomorrow. So if you guys have trauma in your backgrounds, if you have you know, a life full of crap, you know, like where you're just like constantly given stuff that is, you're like, why is this happening to me?
Why? I'm a nice person. Why is this happening?
This
Yeah, we'll talk about all that.
this will have hopefully some answers for you. And yeah, so thanks guys for being here. We appreciate
Thank
you as
you,
always. Love
everyone.
you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.